Hey, hello parents, this is Mr. Carmona with your September 4th, 2020 parent update for all of the parents here at Anthony Elementary. Hi, I hope you guys are doing well. We're heading into the Labor Day weekend and I'm hoping that you have a wonderful, wonderful time with your family. I'm planning on going camping. I'm looking forward to it. So in this video, I'm going to be covering several very important topics. The first one that we're going to tackle is when do kids come back to school? And we're going to be also talking about how are we going to keep students safe when they come back to school. We're also going to be asking you for some help in making the remote learning, what we're doing right now remotely through the computer, work better, because there's some things that we need to fix. And then I'm going to also offer you some information on our grab and go lunches that we offer here at Anthony Elementary for you. I want to make it a little easier for you. The district wants to make it a little easier. And then I want to talk a little bit about, to end the video, about the teacher's schedule every week remotely. So let's get into it. Last night, the board met. If you want to watch the entire video, it's about an hour long that the board meets. And then Mr. Dempsey takes questions from parents and staff for about a half hour after. The link is down below in the description of this video, as well as an outline of what I'm talking about. You may not want to watch the whole video and just skim the information. You won't hurt my feelings if that's the case. So before we talk about who's coming back, when they're coming back, I want you to know something very, 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 very important. You as a parent, for right now, while we are getting through this pandemic, you have the choice of whether or not your student comes to school. You're always going to have the choice. Say you chose hybrid and we're moving into the classroom and you just don't feel right about it, you will always have the choice of keeping your student home and working with the teacher on the computer. Nobody's going to force your student to come to class. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have to do the work and they don't have to get onto the computer. Of course, that's part of school. We need that. But nobody's going to make your student come to class. Just want that to be dealt with right off the bat. You can change your mind. We had you do a parent survey in August about whether or not, actually it was July, whether or not if we came back hybrid, if you wanted your student to come in hybrid, which was 2 days a week of learning in a classroom with a teacher physically in the same room. Right? That was hybrid, 2 days a week. And then the other 3 days would be remote. So it's a little bit of remote and a little bit of in-person learning, hybrid. Or you could choose remote only, which would mean that your student at no point comes into the building and it does what we're doing right now. We're learning remotely. That survey is going to be sent out again. A lot of things have changed. A lot of parents have changed their mind. So we're just going to send that survey out again and you get to choose. If we go hybrid, which would you rather have right now? Okay. Now, last night during the school board meeting, it seemed like they had already decided to go hybrid, but I want to cover that very specifically. They did decide that for certain students that we call at risk, and then what are they at risk of? They're at risk of losing any of the progress that they've made in learning at school. For a certain number of students in certain programs of special education, they are going to be coming back as it stands right now. Dates are subject to change on October 19th. Don't panic. That's none of those programs that were discussed during the board meeting affect students here at Anthony Elementary. So for now, when are students coming back at Anthony? The answer to that is still we don't know. Are our students coming back on October 19th? No, none of the programs that were discussed affect our students, okay? But it's important that we see how the district handled that transition. It's important to know that the district is going to give each of those parents a 10-day notice. So on October 9th, the district's going to notify the parents of those students that are coming back that they're coming back. So you can start thinking, at no point is it going to be a surprise that your student has to be back in class or that that's an option. So it's important to know that the way that the district's handling that. After fall break, the school board is going to meet again and they're going to decide maybe it's whether or not they want to transition into hybrid or whether they want to go until January in remote. I really encourage you to watch the video, because I got a feeling from watching it that the school board feels very strongly that perhaps we need to think about just saying that we're going to be in remote till January. Several board members talked about that. Let's see here. So I know that for most of us, this information isn't very helpful, because I think what you want and what I want are the same thing. I want a date. What day are kids coming into my classrooms, right? For me, I have a lot of planning to do, and we've got to prepare, and we're going to be prepared, but I want to know, and you want to know, well, at what day am I going to have that choice of my kid coming to school? Well, unfortunately, we don't know, but we do know a couple things. We know that the district's committed to giving you prior notice of when that happens. We know that you are always going to have the option to say, I don't feel right about that. I want my student to stay at home and keep working remotely. And then lastly, I encourage you to watch it, but they are the school board expressed some serious reservations about having kids come back at all. And there is a possibility that we stay in a remote mode until January. Remember, after fall break, which is September 28th to October 2nd, they're going to look at the number of cases in our area, and they're going to make their decision at that point. So I do encourage you to watch the video from last night and definitely tune into the next one. Okay. So the second thing that I want to talk about is, how are we going to keep students safe when and if we do come back to class? I mean, we will eventually, but during the pandemic, what are our safety precautions? So first off, daily temperature checks. As your student walks in the door, we're going to have a station in several different parts of the school that will be checking their temperature. They'll be documenting their temperature and then asking them 2 health questions. How do you feel today? And is somebody in your house sick? All right. We are going to be issuing student ID cards that are going to make that system a lot faster, so that we're not spending a lot of time waiting to come into the school, but it'll be a system where they can scan that card, take the temperature, ask the questions, and get your student in to go get some breakfast, have their and start their lessons. Our class sizes, when we go into hybrid, are going to be much smaller. Right now, our numbers are about 50% of parents chose to keep their students home, and 50% of parents have chosen to send their students in a hybrid model. So think about those 50%. For us, we have about 350 students. So that means that 175 parents have chosen to keep their students home, and another 175 have chosen to send them in hybrid. Well, that 175, half of them will come on Monday and Tuesday, half of them will come on Thursday and Friday. Remember, Wednesdays, we're going to disinfect the school. So it's a break in the week. We have one group coming, Wednesday is a break, disinfect the school, reset, and then we have another group. And then we have the weekend to disinfect and let whatever germs are in our building die. And then we start over again on Monday. So the reduced class sizes are going to help a lot. I've got the question several times. How are you going to ensure that kids are 6 feet apart at all times? Well, we're going to do our very best. We're going to talk with parents, we're going to talk with students, and we're going to talk with their teachers about making sure that we can keep those students 6 feet apart. In the cafeteria, we have a plan. Our tables are 6 feet in length, so our students will sit at each end, and and we can accommodate the number of students that will be coming to class in the cafeteria. We also have on order some desk shields that are like a barrier between students that are sitting down at our tables, because that is the hard part in a classroom. When you sit them at their desks or their tables, how do you keep them 6 feet apart? Well, in the event that we can't, we're going to have some desk shields. Of course, we're all going to wear our masks, teachers and students. Some teachers will elect to wear a mask and a face shield. We're going to build in hand washing breaks throughout the day. We are also not going to share school supplies. That was a question that I received from several parents asking whether or not they were going to be sharing, the glue at the middle of the table. No, when we come back, each student is going to keep their own supplies in their backpack, and those are the supplies they use, and those are the supplies that go home. So there should not be any sharing of school supplies. Another question that I got from this morning's text message was, are they gonna let me know if a student in my son's class or my daughter's class came down with COVID? And the short answer is we can't. We can't say Pepito Gomez had COVID, so we're not gonna, we can't do that for lots of reasons. We can't share medical information, but we can say there was a case in your classroom and your students will be staying home. And so we are monitoring that, and we do have a plan for what's called contact tracing to make sure that if there is a positive case, we can look at it and say, do we need to keep one classroom home, or do we need to keep a whole hallway home? Or if there's lots of cases, more than one, do we need to start thinking about maybe closing the school and going to remote for Anthony Elementary? So there are very, very solid and concrete plans for the event of there being somebody who comes down with COVID. Now, one thing that we need to ask, and I'm gonna start asking you for some help, be ready to do a temperature check at home before you send your student. Okay, we need to trust each other, and we need your help. What that's going to do is it's going to avoid the possibility of your student being sick, having a fever, and coming to school. And then when they're in line waiting to have their temperature check, then we would have to worry about, did they infect, or did they contaminate anything or anyone while they were waiting in line? So please be ready to do a temperature check with your student at home every day. And we're doing the same thing with our staff. They're taking their temperatures at home. Now that we're asking for favors, why don't I just go ahead and come right out and say it? We need your help. Some students are very, very good about at home, when we're on remote learning and in class, of being very student-like. And what does student-like mean? Well, like me right now, I'm looking at the screen. I'm not eating. I'm focusing on what's going on in front of me, and I'm participating. But we need your help, parents, because some students are not being student-like in front of the screen. So eating, for one. Have your breakfast before 8 o'clock. It's shocking to me how many classrooms I walk in and the student is drinking a Coke, eating their breakfast, snacking, playing with toys. When you're on, we need to think about it like it being a classroom. And we would never allow a student to be drinking a Coke, or to be eating some breakfast tacos, or playing with their slime in class. So please help us with that. Teachers are giving more breaks throughout the day. So if they are hungry, they should have time to do a quick snack, eat an apple, maybe some crackers, something healthy. But they are having more breaks. Another thing is that many students have a nice little student area for them to do their online classes. We need your help. If your student doesn't have a place like that, it needs to at least be quiet. So the television that's on in the background, or the vacuum, or whatever, please wait until there is a break in class for that to happen, or find a better area for your student. I know that's not always possible, but if you could help us with that, we'd appreciate it. Because one thing that we are doing that's a little bit different than regular classes is we're relying on what's called a participation grade to grade your students. So a lot of you received their progress reports and may be shocked to find out that your student has a C because they're not logging in, or they're turning their camera off when they need to be face-to-face. So talk with your teacher if you have any concerns about that. You have a voice, but we also have a responsibility to make sure that when the students are supposed to be on, they need to be on, and they should be behaving like a student. All right. So another thing is, and I know it's hard to remember, but when the camera's on, we can hear the conversations that are going on in the background. So sometimes parents forget and they start having a loud conversation on the phone, or God forbid, having an argument. Remember, you have about 20 other young eyes on you. You have another 40 set of ears, right? Pair of ears listening into your home. So please be respectful and remember that. And we would appreciate your help with that. Also, we're sending the progress reports and the report cards home to you in an email. And we have most of your parent emails, but I'm going to be asking my teachers next week that if we don't have your email, to please provide it to us so that we can send you their report card and their progress reports. Okay, so those are all the things that I need your help with, and I want to offer you some help. If you're having trouble with picking up their lunches here at Anthony, remember that if you would like, we have those blue cards that will allow you to come pick up the lunch without your students having to be in the car. So there's really three options. Either you come and you have the students in the car with you, and there is your proof that you have students and they give you your lunch. That one's easy. Two, we made blue cards that would allow you as a parent to come pick up the lunch for them without having to bring them. Or three, if you want to contact the Gadsden Independent School District Nutrition Department, they will issue you another form. And on this form, it's mainly for those of you that have like a 2-year-old or 3-year-old that doesn't come to school here. We can list them on that, and then you can also pick up their meals using that form. So the blue form is mostly for students that come to Anthony. If you're a student, if you have a baby or somebody who doesn't attend Anthony but is a child, then they would go with the Gadsden Independent School District Student Nutrition Department form. So we still have those blue cards. I know a lot of you didn't pick them up. I know a lot of you did not pick up your bags of school supplies that had the dry erase whiteboard. They're still here. So if you want to call the school, come pick it up. We'll meet you at the front door. So just call us, let us know that I'm here for Guadalupe Hernandez's bag, and we will bring it right out to you, and we'll give you their blue card as well. Okay. And then finally, let's talk about teacher schedules. I've been asking my teachers to make a weekly schedule and to post it on the Google Classroom stream and to send it to you in Remind every week. It should change. Some weeks they have meetings, some weeks they don't. Some weeks their lessons, there's going to be a lot of lessons online. Some weeks there's going to be more breaks. You as a parent have a voice. So if you feel like your student is spending too much time online, there's some frustration, that's why we have Remind. You can send your teacher a text message, you can call them at that number, and you can have that conversation. And teachers now have a lot more flexibility with how they design their school day. When we started the school year, we made the mistake of trying to replicate a school day online. And that's too many hours for our teachers, too many hours for our students to be staring at a screen. So now teachers have the flexibility of saying, instead of logging in this afternoon, I want you to do this assignment, I want you to turn it in, and I want you to read this, and that will count as their attendance, and it'll count as their grade. So if you feel strongly one way or another, make sure that your teachers heard you, and they do have some flexibility there. We also offered this last week the option for those students that are in kinder and first grade, that if you would like for them to have another break throughout the day, just look at the schedule, and if they have art, music, library, computers, or PE, that block is optional. So you can choose, instead of sending them to art, music, library, technology, PE, you can choose for them to have a break. All right. And we need your input. We're starting a parent equity council. If you'd like to participate in that and just be part of some input and some workshops and filling out some forms, and you're more than welcome to participate. Please email me if you're interested. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Labor Day weekend. Thanks again. Text me if you have any questions. Bye-bye.